Hello, everyone. Wow, there are a lot of you here tonight. That is amazing. Hi, I welcome this evening to this very special event that we're hosting for the release of Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. I'm just so excited to be chatting with all of you today. Hi, my name is Joel, and I am basically a booktuber. I run the booktube channel FictionalFates, and I have had the privilege tonight to speak to the wonderful and amazing Alice Oseman. So yeah, I guess Alice can come in at any time and we can just get this show on the road. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very excited, and I can't believe how many people are here.
Honestly, it's
nearly 500.
a little scary, but
yeah.
I think it's very nice to see everyone pour in their love and support, and it's just amazing. Oh my gosh, people saying they love your outfit. I just got that really quickly. But no, wow, everyone's I love it.
Hi everyone.
but yeah, as we said, we're celebrating the release of Heartstopper Volume 4 after 3 amazing, phenomenal volumes so far. I think I just can't wait to see what this 4th one has to offer. I was initially introduced to Heartstopper through my friend Owen, who basically kept bugging me to read it until I eventually was okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna read it, and I binged the first 3 volumes in one night.
Wow.
And I was okay, this is it. And then I gave this to my little sister to read, and I haven't seen them since. She has now taken ownership of them. I'm never getting them back.
Wow.
But yeah, so this was published last Thursday, and it's already a bestseller, and it's currently at number 4 in the charts. And could you just tell us a little bit about how publication week has been for you?
It's been wild, because first of all, it wasn't supposed to come out until today. Today was the original publication date, but all the books, it just fell. There we go. All the books, they all went out into shops super early in late April. The books go out early sometimes, but Hachette were we might as well just publish it a week early. And so we did. It's just been so amazing. I can't believe how many people have been buying it and reading it, and it's just so many people. And I mean, volume 3 did super well, and I did not expect this one to do any better particularly, but the Heartstopper readership just seems to be growing, and it's so amazing. So thank you so much everyone who has got their copy. I hope you're all enjoying it. Yeah. It's crazy.
Honestly, I see everyone from the Heartstopper fandom interacting on Twitter and Instagram, and it's just so amazing and heartwarming to see everyone be so wholesome with one another. And it's just amazing, and seeing just everyone be so excited and hyped for it, and it's just so beautiful, and I love it. So before we dive in properly, I know I could use this because it's been a few months since I've read the first 3 volumes, but could you just give us a brief recap on what's happened so far?
I can. So if for some reason you have not read volumes 1 to 3, spoilers alert. But so in volume 1, we meet Nick and Charlie, who are 2 boys at an all-boys grammar school, and they Charlie is openly gay, but Nick is straight, or so he thinks. They meet and they become friends, and Charlie develops a crush on Nick, but doesn't think Nick's ever going to like him back until he does. And so that's kind of the story of volume 1. Then in volume 2, we mostly focus on Nick's journey to figuring out that he's bisexual. And then in volume 3, the whole gang of Heartstopper characters go on a school trip to Paris, and the story is kind of Nick and Charlie figuring out how they're going to come out to all their friends and all people at school and their family and things like that. So, and now we're on volume 4. Yes. How has that happened?
Honestly, the time has passed so quickly, and it's just amazing. And like as someone who like is bisexual, I resonated a lot with a lot of the like bisexual Janie that was within Heartstopper. It was just so amazing and like heartwarming to see. Like I got a bit emotional, but like it was so amazing. And leading on to like volume 4 now, what are like some of the things that we can expect from it?
Yeah, so volume 4's kind of main focus is on Charlie's mental health journey. We learn in volume 3 that Charlie probably has an eating disorder, but he doesn't really know what that means. Nick doesn't really know what that means. So in volume 4, we kind of explore that in a deeper way, and Charlie kind of gets on his path towards recovery. And Nick is kind of figuring out how he can help him and how he can't help him, basically. So yeah, that's what volume 4 is all about.
Yeah, and like as you like tackle these like important and slightly darker topics, can you like mention a bit about how it was exploring that and exploring it especially in like the graphic slash web comic format rather than fiction?
Yeah, so like when approaching mental health stuff in Heartstopper, my goal was always to make it as non-triggering as possible. I definitely think there's a place for stories that can be triggering and do look at these topics in quite a raw, graphic way. But Heartstopper, that's not really the tone of Heartstopper and hasn't ever been. So I wanted to explore these, serious issues, but keep Heartstopper as a safe place, because it is a safe place for a lot of people. And so I approach these topics in a kind of positive, optimistic light, with the focus being on recovery rather than the downfall into terrible mental health, basically. So yeah.
It's just so heartwarming to like hear that, and like especially as you said, it's like a safe space, and like you can definitely see that reflected in everyone that reads it, because they just come away from it feeling so like fuzzy and warm and like loving, and they definitely like share that with one another. And like as you mentioned, like there are definitely places for stories that do delve into this in another way. So would you say it was more of a conscious decision to like not center Heartstopper around like the tragedy and the trauma?
It definitely was. And a lot of that comes from, the origins of Heartstopper, which was my first YA novel, Solitaire, which also features Nick and Charlie. And that's kind of where Nick and Charlie's story came from. But that story does look at mental health in a very dark way that is triggering for a lot of people. And so that, I wanted to look at it in a very different way in Heartstopper. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's just I just love it. It's so good. And as you mentioned, like Nick and Charlie were originally characters in your novel Solitaire. Like how was it when you decided to write Heartstopper and like transition them in as main characters in this webcomic slash graphic novel?
Yeah, well, I wrote Solitaire in 2012, which is madness. I can't believe it was that long ago. But so when I wrote that, Nick and Charlie aren't the main characters. Tori is the main character, Charlie's sister. But I just loved Nick and Charlie as characters, and I found them really interesting. I knew they had a story beyond what was in Solitaire, and I really wanted to write that story. And I tried for ages to figure out how to write it as a novel, because that's what I had done before when writing stories. And I just couldn't make it work. I couldn't fit the story into like a typical novel structure. So instead, I decided to try it as a comic, because I love comics, I love drawing. And that's kind of how Heartstopper began. Originally, actually, Heartstopper, I drew it as kind of a passion project in like by hand in a notebook, like a really, really early version of Heartstopper in like 2013. I remember, because it was like my thing to do for fun while I was doing my A-levels. And the art was very bad, and it will never see the light of day. But yeah, so that's kind of where Heartstopper originated, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. And like I definitely resonate with like older things, because like all the like the stories that I've written when I was younger, no one will ever see those ever again. Like no, no. But like just seeing the, and like I love that you draw the art yourself as well. Like it definitely helps with like the atmosphere and just capturing the atmosphere. It's just so amazing, and oh, it's so good. And like as especially as I'm doing right now, lots of us fan over this series. Like as you can see by like the amount of people that are like here, everyone is like in love with it. And like Nick and Charlie are just like, we just want to hug them and everything. So what is some of like the favorite reactions that you've had so far to Heartstopper?
Oh my gosh. I guess I lots of people say that it just brings them joy and it's just a way to escape and like read something happy and lovely, and that makes me feel amazing, like knowing that I've just given them something, something you can escape into for an hour or two. I think that's so valuable. And that's just really wonderful to hear. And also hearing that it's helped people with their sexuality journey or anything, on a personal level, that's just really amazing. I'm really happy to hear that.
I love that. And like I definitely think it has, like, especially with me, it helped me like reaffirm like my sexuality. And I think it's just super cool that it can help like other people as well. And especially with like Heartstopper being such like a queer icon of a book, were there any queer icons or authors that like you looked up to or fanned over as well that you felt inspired by?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, you know what, Check Please is like, I've been reading that for, I mean it's finished now, but I read it for so long, and that was like the first, probably one of the first like queer comics that I found online, and kind of one of the main comics that got me into reading web comics. And there's so many like amazing queer web comics out there. So I have a lot to thank to Check Please for kind of introducing me to that world. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And like especially as you've just talked about with Check Please, like Heartstopper was like a webcomic first and foremost. And do you think like the move from a webcomic to now a physical formatted graphic novel changed the way you kind of wrote or approached Heartstopper as a whole?
It definitely did. It's made me think very carefully about what is going to be in the story, because the books can't be longer than a certain page length. So the story has to kind of work within like 350, 400 pages for each volume. So I have to plan the story in quite a specific way to make sure that like what things that are in there that I want to be in there, and it's not going to be a weird length of book like 700 pages or but yeah, I think that's a good thing, because it's kind of encouraged me to plot and pace the story in a sensible way, rather than like going off on a tangent, which is so easy to do in webcomics, because there isn't like a book structure. You could easily just spend 100 pages on one scene if you wanted to, but yeah.
I love that. And especially when you're talking about like plotting, do you like tend to like focus on like the script portion, so like what character's gonna say, or do you tend to draw the art first and then figure out the story from there?
Yeah, so I always script it first. I plot the whole chapter, and then I write the scenes as a script, kind of a few scenes in advance, and then I draw, obviously. But I don't write the whole book like before I start drawing. I think I feel like I make comics in quite a chaotic way, because I think most people like sketch the whole book first, and then they go back and they do the lines, and then they do all the shading. But because it is a web comic and I do it like page by page, I guess I never really know exactly where I'm going. And just hoping for the best, but it's been fine so far. So
I mean, chaotic energy is basically the best energy, so And would you find that you enjoy the writing more or the drawing more?
definitely the drawing. I think I just find drawing so relaxing in a way that writing isn't really. Like, obviously I love writing, but drawing, you can zone out a little bit more. You don't have to have as much like concentration and mental energy, for me
100%.
anyway. So yeah.
I feel like it just gives you that space to just breathe almost, and just, I guess
Yes.
it also helps like flesh out the like plot and ideas more as you're drawing them, because then it's like the image of your characters is actually coming to life on the page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And like, especially when like writing Heartstopper, were there any like literary tropes that you enjoyed writing, or any that you enjoyed reading actually?
Oh, I mean, Heartstopper is just like friends to lovers story, which I mean, I'm obsessed with.
Literally same.
I like when writing kind of volume one, I really wanted to make Nick and Charlie clearly friends first. It wasn't like instantly they're in love with each other. There was a real sense of them like bonding in a platonic way first. um I just love that in stories when it's not like instantly they're kissing. There's a
Same.
proper build up.
Like this, like it just feels like you're just like, you're so cute, and but then you're just like, but you know, like come on.
Yeah.
But it's, I just found like the build-up was just so like adorable as well, because it was like it was just so perfectly paced, because you could see like these Nick and Charlie just like getting closer as friends, and then like it happens and you're just like, oh, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I just want to like hug them and like protect them from the world, and it's just so cute. And oh, and speaking of like friends to lovers and like other like things within books, what's a good book that you've been reading recently that like maybe everyone here would like to go off and read afterwards?
Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible at this question. Literally every time I'm like, I have forgotten every book that I've ever read. Well, what I am reading at the moment
Oh,
is, no, I've completely forgotten the
no,
name.
you forget it.
Oh no, I've remembered. I have just read volume 5 of the Given manga series. Have you
Oh,
heard about
I have
this?
not. Tell me
It's
more.
I can't remember the name of the author, but it's a series called Given, and everyone in the chat is
Oh
screaming.
yes, everyone is screaming.
It's
Okay,
a
so
really,
maybe.
really just beautiful manga series about a band. It's a queer series. It's gay as heck. And it's just really beautifully drawn and like really emotional, and it's about like grief and finding comfort in music, and it's like amazing. So highly recommend that.
I mean, it's gay, so I'm already on board. And I think
Exactly.
someone quickly also asked, who is your favorite character?
Oh, oh my gosh. I can't choose. There's like 4 main characters, and they're all very like angsty, and they've all got their
Oh,
own little like, situation. I can't choose. I love them all. There's also an anime series of it, which is really good.
oh,
I'd recommend.
I might have to. I'm gonna. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing afterwards, because yeah, Google is gonna be loaded up and ready to go. Um, so as we like talk about like the writing and the reading, we have a lot of attendees here who probably also want to be writers themselves someday. And would you have any like tips for them who may be thinking about writing or illustrating themselves?
I mean, the tip that I always give is write the book that you want to read. Don't try and write something because you think other people will like it or you think agents will like it. You've really got to write something that you are passionate about and you are just in love with, because that passion and that love for the story will come through in your writing and make it good, basically.
Yeah.
And just have fun with it. Like, I feel like a lot of people stress about getting published and getting an agent before they've even written anything. So I mean, I suggest just not thinking about publication at all and just focus on writing something that you're obsessed with and you can't stop thinking about. and have fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think initially, like with me, like I was very much like, ooh, write a story to get published. But then I kind of thought about the stories that I wanted to write and like the ones that were like missing. And I was just like, okay, this is what I'm gonna write now. So I definitely like resonate with that. And especially with like writing, I know you've previously said that you write to music. And you know, like as someone who's also a music buff, could you give us like a little bit of a sneak preview, like what's in the Heartstopper playlist? Like, is there any like certain songs that remind you of like Nick and Charlie or other relationships like Tori, like iconic icon?
Oh my gosh.
Or is it like something that you create for each and every volume?
I actually have a main like Heartstopper playlist on Spotify, which I'm just gonna have a quick peek at on my Spotify.
I love that.
Oh, you know, Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac for me is like a very Heartstoppery song, just a classic.
Everyone's asking that they need this playlist.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I don't think I can share it. I mean, I could put it in the chat, but it's actually linked on the Heartstopper Tumblr. If you go on the Heartstopper Tumblr, there's a link to it, and you will find it. So there you go.
Everyone flock quickly. Well, afterwards, not now.
Not now.
Not now. That's so cool. Like I love that. And like looking ahead to volume 5 and like without like spoiling anything, obviously, do you already have like a dream ending in mind for like Nick and Charlie's story? And are you gonna miss spending time with Nick and Charlie? Because like I know I will, but obviously you have to write it, so
yeah, I mean the story has to end at some point, which is really sad.
Does it though?
Does it? I could just write it forever till I die. Yeah, so I do know how the story is going to end. I've known for quite a while, and I've said many times that it will end when Nick goes to university, and their like time at school together is over. But the actual ending, I obviously that's a secret until we get there. And yeah, it's going to be really, really weird when Heartstopper is over. I'm going to be really sad.
Same.
Yeah, but we will hopefully still have TV stuff going on at that point. Fingers crossed. So Heartstopper won't be fully over, I guess.
No, true.
Yeah.
It'll live on in other forms.
Live on.
Which we're gonna slowly segue over to now, because as we're all recently aware, or if you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen it yet, Heartstopper is being adapted, and we have been fed a lot, and I'm craving more, but I'm trying to like stop myself at this stage. But is there anything that you can reveal to us about like anything that you want?
Anything.
Anything.
Well, in case you don't know, just to give you a quick summary of everything that's happened so far, Heartstopper was optioned 2 years ago by Seesaw Films, and then about a year ago Netflix came on board and were like, yes, we will put your show on our platform. And we were like, woo. And this year we went through a wild casting process to cast everyone in the show, and we have revealed the cast. If you haven't seen that, it's on my Instagram. They're all amazing, and now we're currently filming. It's literally happening right now. How did we get here?
It's amazing. And like I think my first reaction was just like, I love that the cast is age appropriate and like they're just like their ages instead of being like aged up. And like I was like, yes, I was like, thank God I'm being fed. But I know like we were talking like before this started about the cast and how they all call you mum, and it's just so adorable and cute. But what was it like to like see the Heartstopper characters or the actors in real life for the very first time, and you were just like, these people are going to play my characters? What?
It is it's just bizarre. It is so emotionally overwhelming. Like some of them, you just saw their first audition and I'd just be like, well, that's them. Like, and it was, yeah, it's just the weirdest experience. And then meeting them in real life as well is it's really, really amazing. And they're all just such lovely people as well. Like, obviously they're not their characters, they are different people.
True.
And they are all so, so nice. And they're all friends, they're all
Yeah.
besties.
Been like stalking like them, but like it's been just really cute to see them all like interact, and like their Instagram posts are adorable, and it just makes me like so much more excited because you can see like the chemistry off the set, so it's like
Exactly.
like on the set it's just gonna go and it's gonna be amazing. But like as well, like writing for TV is a whole other ballpark. And like it requires script writing and all of this. And was it very different to writing like graphic novels, like the webcomic, or even like novels in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's I had to learn, the format of it because I really didn't know how people wrote screenplays, I guess. The first thing I did when I got asked to try it was I went and read a load of screenplays of other TV shows that I liked. And in some ways it's you really can't, when doing a book adaptation, what I've learned is that you really can't just make it exactly the same because it just won't work. Like the structure of it, the structure of what works in a book doesn't necessarily work on TV. So the challenge was, how do we like tweak the story and expand the story to make this a really good TV show? And yeah, it's been a really interesting experience.
I can tell. Like I think like especially like since you'd already had like experience before with like obviously Heartstopper didn't work as a novel, so then you made it into a webcomic, and now you're like, oh, I'm just kind of like transforming it again. I think it's gonna be like really interesting to see the way that it's just been transferred along this route, and it's just amazing. But what are you most looking forward to about the show? Because like you've obviously heard what everyone else is most looking forward to, but like you specifically.
I mean, I've seen a lot of it already.
I'm jealous.
And what has been amazing, like one of my favorite things is the scenes that are directly taken from the comic. So there are certain scenes that are almost down to the composition of the shots are exactly the same as what they are in the comic, and that has just been really exciting. And I can't wait for you lot to see that because I think you're gonna
I'm already seeing like the Twitter and Tumblr posts where they're gonna have like the comic like panel, and then the actual like, and then it's just gonna like scroll through and like like it's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited. And I think everyone's now started a tree cult within the chat.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of talk about trees. What's happening?
They've been seen. Everyone's hiding. Oh, I love that. And before we get into like the Q&A submissions from everyone in the amazing audience, what's next for like the Oseman verse, your little unit, like well, it's not even little anymore, it's massive. Like what and who do we need to look out for next?
Yeah, I mean, my focus is definitely Heartstopper at the moment. Like I am not planning any other new books. There's no new YA novel on the horizon. My focus is the TV show and volume 5 of Heartstopper, which I'll start planning and drawing kind of next month. And yeah, I don't really have many plans beyond that. I think because I've been doing I've been writing books for what feels like quite a long time now. I've reached the point where I just want to like take a little step back and just try and chill out a little bit, and focus on like one thing.
Honestly,
So yeah,
like,
that's my plan.
have a break, take care of
Yeah.
yourself, rejuvenate. And I think I figured out the plan of the tree cult. I think they're going to try and cast themselves in trees in the
Okay.
Heartstopper TV show.
Great.
Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Like, maybe the leader can like slide into my DMs and like I can be like a birch tree, you know. Thank you. Hashtag tree gang. So throughout tonight, a lot of people have been sending a lot of questions in, and it's just so exciting to see everyone be so passionate and like amazed by tonight. I've just been such an honor, and like I'm so happy right now. But the very first question, which I found completely like funny, was, do you have any tips on bullying their boyfriend to read Heartstopper?
Wow. I think just show your boyfriend like a cute panel of Nick and Charlie, and that'll be enough to persuade them. Just show them some of the cuteness, and you know, it'll happen.
It works every time. It did it for my sister. It will work for you.
There we go.
And what was your so far? What was your favorite scene to like illustrate or write?
Ooh, oh my gosh. I think the first kiss was probably one of my favorites. I'm just super happy with how that came out, I guess. Like the writing, I really like the writing in that scene, and this like the drawing.
It was so, I remember reading it for the first time and I like had to like take a breather because I was just like, this is too adorable. Like I can't, like it was just so cute, and it's amazing. But also, like, speaking of like Heartstopper and like your other works, congratulations for like the YA prize for Loveless.
Thank you.
Would you say that your books kind of inform or inspire each other as you go on?
Yeah, they definitely do. Like Loveless, the idea for Loveless kind of came out of things that I'd explored a little bit in my other books. You know, kind of platonic love and the idea that platonic relationships are just as powerful as romantic relationships. That kind of concept had been explored a little bit, like particularly in Radio Silence, I think. So then in Loveless, that became like the main thing, and I actually wrote a whole story about it. So yeah, definitely it was inspired by things that came before.
I love that. And like, speaking of like inspiration and influences, we had a question that asked, what do you think your main influences are on your art style? And do you think you'll make another comic after Heartstopper?
My main influence, I think, I mean, firstly, I read a lot of manga as a teenager. Like in my school library, there was a whole manga section, and I remember me and my friends would all just like binge the manga in the library. But also, I guess a lot of like the shows that I watched as a child were anime. I was obsessed with Digimon as a child, and Pokemon. And I would just draw Digimon and Pokemon all the time. So that definitely influenced my art style.
I mean, amazing. Like I remember like watching Pokemon as a kid and like just wishing I could be a Pokemon trainer. And then I think I got like, I think my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Pearl. And I'm like, now that they're remastering it, I'm like, yes,
can't wait.
Also,
I just started Pokemon Snap. I'm obsessed with it.
Amazing. We also had another question we had a few questions actually about this. They're asking, would you make a cameo in the TV series?
I definitely would. I'm hoping that will happen. just a small, I don't want to speak. I don't want to be like in the front center of the shot. I just want to be somewhere in the background that like beady-eyed people can just see a tiny me like right in the background.
Oh, it would be funny if you had like a bunch of people like dressed like you and then have it like throughout the entire show and only one of them is like the real version of you.
Like, where's Wally?
Literally. That would be so funny. So another question asks, what's a genre you would love to write that is completely different to what you have written before?
I've always been intrigued by the idea of writing sci-fi. I don't know why. I guess I like watching sci-fi things on TV, so it could be fun to write something in that genre. I don't know.
I think sci-fi is just really interesting because it's just like out, like I think because a lot of your books are in this world, then you can go out of it and beyond.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking of like Heartstopper in space and
I need to draw that AU. Wow, next mini comic.
Yes, it would be a good one shot. Like that would be amazing. So what actor, this is another question, what actor did you know from the first time you saw them that they were perfect for the show?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Oh, who do I say? I mean Kit and Joe, who are Nick and Charlie, I knew instantly as soon as I saw them audition for those roles. But interestingly, Kit auditioned for Charlie first, and I saw that and was like, well, he doesn't really seem like Charlie. But then we asked him to audition for Nick, and I was like, well, yes, that's it.
Yes.
But literally all of them I kind of had that feeling as soon as I saw their first audition. I was like, they're amazing. They're so perfect.
I just remember like looking at like Joe and just being like screaming, being like, that is Charlie right there.
I know.
Like, I was like, it's just weird seeing it like work so well, because sometimes you get like characters that are just like, they don't look like, but then like with this, it's just like it was weird. It's kind of like you just like lifted the characters from the books and it was just like amazing. It was
I can't believe we found them.
But also speaking of like Heartstopper characters, who's your favorite? I know this is like asking to like pick your favorite child, but
it really is.
People do want to know.
Wow. I mean, I think it's got to be a tie between Nick and Charlie, just because like some of my oldest characters. Like they've been in my head for so long, and I just care about them so deeply. So, I cannot choose between them. How could I possibly choose Nick or Charlie?
Honestly, they're just. Yeah, they come as a package deal.
Exactly.
So as we know, Heartstopper is a webcomic first and foremost, and it's amazing. Everyone should go read it. But what are like some of your webcomic recommendations for people who like love and are obsessed with Heartstopper?
Oh my gosh. How do I choose? Oh, a webcomic that I love is called Charity Case. It's on Tapas, which is a comic reading website. And it's kind of slow burn, slice of life, queer, polyamorous romance. And it's beautifully drawn. It's like full color, painted. It's really amazing. Like the artist is just amazing. And it's just kind of like real life issues, and I just love it. It's really beautiful. So it's called Charity Case. It's on Tapas. Go check it out.
And like speaking of Charity Case and like other webcomics, would you ever want there to be like a Heartstopper crossover between like that and another webcomic?
Oh yeah, I mean that would be cool. I don't know what that would be, but absolutely. I've had artists, I've commissioned artists to do guest comics for Heartstopper, artists who have their own comics, and that's been amazing. So yeah, that would be really cool.
It would be so awesome. Like, it would just be amazing. And we had another question that asked, which character do you resonate with the most?
Ooh, I mean, in Heartstopper, probably Alid, who is like the quiet friend, like a little bit in the background, just doing his own thing, chilling. I relate.
It's just adorable. And yeah, I'm trying to see some more questions. Ooh, this is an interesting one. What are the easiest and hardest characters to write and draw?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I guess to draw, I find Charlie's hair is quite challenging. It's, even though I've drawn it a billion times, like, because it's wavy, it's just very hard to get right.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, even to this day, when I've drawn him a billion times, whereas Nick I find super easy to draw for some reason. I don't know why, it's very odd. I don't know about writing. I guess I don't find particular characters challenging. It's more like, I mean, I've always said I find plotting in general very challenging. I'm just not amazing at it. But yeah, I guess.
I resonate with that. But speaking of like drawing, writing, and like stuff like curly hair struggles and all, what was your favorite volume to write / draw so far?
Ooh, I don't think I have a favorite, just because they're all so different. They all, like, each volume has quite a different sort of vibe, and they all explore like quite different things. Like, obviously I love volume 1 because it's like the getting together story, which is so much fun, and then volume 2 is like exploring sexuality, and that's really interesting to write. And then volume 3 is so much fun, like school trip, all the characters are in there like having fun together, and that was a lot of fun. And then volume 4, again, it was, I mean, even though it's exploring more serious things, it was still really fun because I got to do kind of some different things that I hadn't tried before. Like, there's a lot of journal entries in volume 4. And more like a couple of sections that are like narrated rather than just dialogue. So that was, something different, something fun. So
I mean, to everyone here, I haven't read volume 4 yet. That's what I'm reading tonight because I've been busy with other things like finishing uni. But like, I'm excited, slightly scared, but like, I think I'm gonna come away from it with like a warm hug. So yeah. Everyone can like leave their reactions in the chat so I can be fully prepared. But like, speaking of like all these 500 people here, surely that's like massively surprising, like, to you as well. Like, were you surprised about how like popular Heartstopper became?
I really was. I wasn't expecting it at all. And it's just been growing so much. Especially like after the TV announcement and volume 4 coming out, it's just been bigger than ever, and I really can't believe how many people are reading it now. It's just so amazing.
Honestly, like, everyone's just like so amazing. Someone just put 500 tree strong. I mean, this tree gang thing is gonna take off. I can still see it. It's it's amazing. Someone asked about relation on a wider scale. So which characters from the whole Oseman verse do you relate to the most?
I mean, Alid is in Radio Silence, so again, Alid, but also Georgia, who is the main character of Loveless. Like, a lot of kind of my own feelings about things were put into Loveless, so for that reason I definitely relate to Georgia a lot. But also Frances in Radio Silence, like, a lot of her journey with like figuring out what she wants to do with her future, and being a high achiever versus being a creative person, that I definitely relate to that a lot. So yeah.
Like, that's just amazing. Like, oh, I definitely feel like, especially like everyone like puts a part of themselves in like characters because obviously we're writing them, and it's just like interesting to see like the way that we relate to them and the way that we converse with them as well. And someone also then asks, the Bookshop Shakespeare and Company is included in volume 3. Where is your favorite bookshop?
My favorite bookshop. Oh my gosh. I have a special place in my heart for my home Waterstones, which is Waterstones Blue Water. Just because I've been there like so many times, and like ever since I was a child, like it just has like a homey feel in my heart. But I also love in London, I love Gaze the Word, which is just a cute little queer bookshop. So nice. And I also love Gosh Comics, which if I had been there as a child, I would have just been so obsessed with it because I loved actual comics. Like, and it's just being surrounded by comics is great.
That's mood. Oh, I need to buy more comics now. Someone also asked, why did you choose Paris for the school trip?
So I chose Paris because it was like a realistic school trip destination. I felt like going too far away was maybe not the most realistic. And it was also convenient for them to go somewhere on like a bus rather than a plane, because I just thought a bus would be like easier to draw rather than like an airport. And like there's lots of things to do in Paris. I knew that there would be lots of different things for them to go and see, and they could go to the Louvre. So yeah, it worked out.
And it looked amazing. Someone then also asked, have you ever thought about what Nick and Charlie's relationship would be like through university and after?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think I would ever write that. Like, I want there to be, Heartstopper to end and us to feel like, they're going to be okay, and we all know that, and we don't need to see that, I guess. But
I feel that.
Yeah, but I love, thinking about, them being long distance at uni, and FaceTiming each other and going to visit, and getting their first apartment together afterwards, and like just living happily ever after.
Oh. Oh, that's so cute. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, like the first apart. Oh, I can see them all like owning plants and like, oh, okay. Fan fiction can be for later. How long did it take you to write each volume?
Oh, I think each volume takes about a year and a half to write and draw. So yeah, I think roughly that long. Because I started volume 1 in like May 2016, and then finished it like late 2017 or something. But yeah, they've all about a year and a half. So the first volume is published really quickly because I'd already drawn a lot of it already. Whereas now there's probably going to be a bit of a wait before volume 5 because I have not drawn any of it yet. So sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll be patient. We'll be patient. It will be good. It will be good, and we will be fed. And yeah. So apart from like Nick and Charlie's amazing, beautiful, wonderful storyline, were there any other like individual character storylines that were any of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, we've got Tara and Darcy, who we meet kind of towards the end of volume 1. And I love Town L, who we kind of see their storyline starting together in like volume 2. And it was so nice to kind of have these other two sort of relationships that are in quite a different place to Nick and Charlie's. Like Tara and Darcy have been together before the story starts, and they're like an established relationship and they're adorable, love them. And then Town L are friends and there's something between them, but nothing's happened yet. And I just love them so much. Yeah, and one of the joys of doing the TV show is getting to write a lot more of them, like really expanding their stories, and including them way more than is in the comics. So I'm excited for you to see all of that.
We love to see it. We love it. And like harkening back to like the beginnings of like Heartstopper, which character did you come up with first?
I guess it must have been as in the other characters, or
Yeah.
Yeah, the other characters. I think it must have been Tao. I think was the first character who I came up with, and then Tara, who was kind of like the girl that Charlie thought Nick was gonna go out with, but then he didn't. And then like as soon as I created them, I was like, well, I want them to have their own story. And then I created Elle and Darcy, and they became this lovely little gang, and I love them.
They're just adorable, and yeah, like everyone's amazing. This isn't a Heartstopper question, but I found it like slightly funny. If you were an ice cream, what flavor would you be?
Wow. Oh my gosh. That is an interesting, how do you personify ice cream?
Yeah. How do you I feel like it's one of those like personality things on like Twitter where it's like, are you cookie dough? And these are all the personality traits for cookie dough. And it's just like, what would I be?
I don't know. I'm gonna say all I can think about right now is like brownie ice cream, like that you get in the cinema. So I'm just gonna say that, but only because that's my favorite ice cream.
That's a mood. I think I'd be, I mean, if we're going for favorites, I'd be salted caramel because
nice.
Special place. Someone asked, which character's Instagram have you loved to create? I love the banter between Charlie and Tao.
Yeah, oh my gosh. In volume 4, there's, some of you will know, there is some Instagram posts at the end which are just so much fun to do. Like I love thinking about how they would all talk to each other on social media. It's really funny. But I've never actually attempted to make this social media, so someone should do that.
Go.
Do it.
You know what to do. Tree gang, go. Rosie then asked, what's the first thing you're going to do when all your work on Heartstopper is done? Doesn't have to be work or writing related though.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. It's so weird to think about being in a world where I'm not working on Heartstopper. Like I've literally been working on Heartstopper non-stop for 5 years. I can't even imagine what I will be doing with my time when I am no longer working on it. Very weird.
Yeah, it just feels like, it feels like you're just like letting something like not go, but like it's just like there now, and you're like, well, I guess like that's it. And it's just like, oh,
so weird.
So weird. Someone asked, what's your favorite area within a bookshop?
Oh my gosh. I think graphic novels and comics is my favorite because I love, you can just pick them up and flick through and look at the pictures. But like the YA section is just always wonderful to wander in, and so happy and lovely, and yeah. I miss bookshops.
Same. Like I mean, I've managed to be able to go back, but like even now, even like when I'm going to bookshops, I'm like, I need to go more. If I could go there every day now, I could, because like it's just not enough. We've been apart for so long, and it's hard. We had a few questions about the teachers, and when did you think about their storyline, and will it come back later?
Yeah, I So it was so weird actually. I randomly thought of them like when I first on almost the page that they first appear on. I was like, because I was like, oh well, there's got to be, because we first meet them in volume 3 when they're like running a meeting about the school trip, and I got to that scene and I was like, oh well, I need to draw a teacher for who's like being the chaperone for this trip. And then I was like, oh, what if there's 2 teachers from the different schools? What if they're in love? That was just obviously immediately where my mind went. So like then I just got to write this adorable little side story through that whole volume, and I just fell in love with them. They will definitely be returning, I promise. They're like, I love them too much for them to just disappear.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Oh my gosh, yes. Speaking of like, because we recently just talked about like bookstores and places. What's your favorite place to like write, draw, and generally work?
Yeah, I mean, I write on the sofa. I have to be in a comfy, cozy place with no one there. I cannot write if there's other people around. I'm not like a coffee shop person. But drawing, I always sit at the kitchen table in my family home, like the same spot with this very upright kitchen chair, which is amazing. I don't get any back pain, and it's literally just this kitchen chair. And I've got like an office chair and I get back pain with that, but with this kitchen chair, I'm fine. And that is where I draw all of Heartstopper. So yeah.
The magic kitchen chair. I love
exactly. That. Yeah.
And speaking of like writing, drawing, someone asked, what's your favorite page or panel from volume 4?
Volume 4. Oh my gosh, that's so hard. There are so many that I love. There are lots of like full page illustrations in this one. And one of my favorites is the whole gang are ice skating. They've just gone on a little ice skating trip, and I just loved drawing that because they're all like doing their own thing and it's really funny and adorable. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I might start reading as soon as this is over. Maybe yes. But yeah, wow. Oh wow, the time has gone by so quickly.
Oh my gosh.
But for one final question, is there any parting words or last minute advice that you'd like to give to everyone that's here tonight?
Oh my, just general advice / wisdom from me. I just thank you all so much for coming. Like I honestly can't believe how many of you are here and how many people are passionate about Heartstopper and just talking about it. And like I hope you're all doing well and feeling okay and having a nice evening wherever you are. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for like joining us tonight. It's been like a massive honor to like just do this and be off. Like as soon as I got the email, I was like, yes. I was like, I'm doing this. Please.
Well, thank you so much. You have been a wonderful chair. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Like, and everyone has just been amazing. # tree gang. Like
tree gang.
It's now a thing. This is happening. So yeah, I guess that's everything. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And yeah, I guess we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.